Hello, you lovelies, and welcome to Coycast. I am a Bostonian who loves pop culture, comic books, and people. And it is a hot and hotline heavy week. How you doing this week, Jake?
I'm doing great. It's more than a hot and hotline heavy this week. It's our Thanksgiving Spectacular.
We're going to talk about what we're thankful for. We're going to talk about giving, and we're going to talk about stuffing, the superior meal of Thanksgiving.
We definitely planned a huge Thanksgiving Spectacular.
I hope you guys are in for pilgrims and buckles and us making it up right now on the spot.
We definitely
thought about it.
Looked at the calendar.
Went, oh boy, we're going to be thankful.
This is the episode. This is
the one before the break.
This is the week of Thanksgiving. This is the 23rd of November.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Oh
shit, I gotta go pick up a turkey.
I gotta go get some Black Friday deals on.
Are you gonna do some Black Fridaying?
I delay gratification to such a level that I truly make a giant list of everything I want that lasts years.
And that's not what your girlfriends say.
Hey! But if it lasts like to the next holiday, I usually let myself get it. So like my birthday's in September. I don't buy the things I just added from like St. Patty's, which is a holiday, to September.
Sure.
I then get the things from Christmas I didn't get. So I always move one holiday, right?
Okay.
So everything I didn't get for my birthday, which I got a lot, thanks to this audience, I'm going to let myself get myself Black Friday. So I use it as like a pressure relief of the stuff I want. So like, and a lot of it's helpful stuff. Like I need a new air filter for my air filter. I need like, I got a fancy toothbrush for Black Friday. Now I'm gonna get a little flossy boy. Like, so I'm working on myself.
Wait, a little flossy boy?
Little water pick flossy boy.
Oh, is that what they're called? Little flossy boys?
I call them little flossy boys because they look like little robots.
If there is not a water pick branded toothbrush out there called Lil Flossy Boy.
We've all failed.
Also, by the way, I'm not sure. I know that you're a fan of hip hop. Not sure if you've ever attempted it, but there's your name.
There's my name. I'm Lil Flossy Boy.
Lil Flossy Boy.
I had to learn how to floss like that dance.
Oh,
and
my
I am
God.
now Lil Flossy Boy.
What you need to do is, I know that you're not like super plugged into British culture, but you need to lean into candy floss, which is what they call cotton candy.
Oh,
it's called candy floss. So Lil Flossy Boy,
like the opposite texture.
Lil Flossy Boy can have like you could just always have like a thing of cotton candy.
I like that
for no
boyish
reason whatsoever.
Charm. I like that. That's very impish.
Lil Flossy Boy.
So I'm getting like nice stuff, but I'm also probably gonna get like the Steelbook of Spider-Man, like things that are always on sale Black Friday.
That's
like
fun.
Those
yeah,
things.
I guess it's funny when I think of like trying to do discount deals. I never think of things that aren't tech.
So I don't
like
have.
I wouldn't think to like, oh yeah, I can get a comic, like a trade or something like that.
So October there was an early Black Friday on Amazon, and I spent I'm not even kidding, $300 on $1,500 worth of health food.
Oh,
I bought food.
Oh god.
I literally, but like that's a thing that's on sale.
Sure, no.
So I bought all of the protein stuff that I can never afford because it was like 70% off. Sure. But I'm still eating on it, and I'll have it through the holiday. So like I'll re-up Black Friday on food and like logic stuff. I also don't have a sound bar. I only have my TV. And I think after 2 years, I'm probably going to get a sound bar.
All right. Why don't you if I could be a man and get a system like a normal person?
I mean, I'd like a system. We'll see what I can afford. I work on the internet.
They're very inexpensive.
Yeah.
You could get like a...
I'd like a 5.1.
Yeah, you can get a really cheap surround sound system at like Target for like $250.
And like decent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, here's the reality is like, this shit's...
It's been out for a while.
It's been out for so long. Like, here's the reality.
Twisters when I have my
But you just said, is it decent? Does it matter? Right now, you're just using your TV speakers.
It's better than that.
Anything is better than that.
I don't want to buy something twice.
Can I say, in that closet, I have an entire set of surround sound speakers that are perfectly great. If you could go buy a cheap receiver, you can have them.
Oh, wait, it's a receiver and speakers?
The receiver is what your actual home theater system is, and then the speakers are what the sound comes out of. So you need to buy a receiver. Every system is going to come with a receiver.
Oh, it comes with it.
That's why sound bars are so popular, is because they're a powered bar.
It's all one thing.
Yeah, but they also don't sound as good as real surround. They're not real. Like everybody's like, oh, it sounds like real surround sound. No, it doesn't.
Can't.
They're doing a good job of throwing sound around your room, but unless you can dial it into the exact specifications of your room, and your room is a perfect square, by the way,
right? Which is not.
Then no sound bar is going to be as good as actual surround sound.
All right,
we updated like when just before we moved, before I realized I was going to have the cost of moving ahead. I probably wouldn't have done it had I known, but yeah, I upgraded all of the speakers from the old Dragons Den. So like we have really nice new speakers. I don't have a nice new center speaker. That's the only thing that I'm missing. Is I kind of want to get a nice new center speaker but I did all of my.
So I think that's my big splurge.
That's
that
nice,
said, the world is very expensive right now. So I'm also aware of like the inflation, but like money's a lot.
But I like the idea that like this year all the deals are just going to be things that what they would have been if
it's just prices.
So inflated.
Welcome to 2019 Black Friday.
I can't think like, so as a photographer, there's always camera gear, but I don't buy it. Like I'm really bad at investing in my own camera gear.
Sure.
Because it is a really expensive industry. And while I do make money as a photographer, and while I do make money off of said gear, it's so expensive that I would have to invest so much of the percentage of what I make back into it. So there is a lot of that stuff. But other than that, like I really, generally because of the studio here, like when I need something tech related, I kind of have to buy it. Like, in fact, shit. I forgot I was supposed to do this last week. I apologize. Blake, there's a listener out there.
Aww.
I don't know how public they wanted, I don't want to blow up a spot.
Sure.
But somebody listens to this program and Myth Understood. And if you remember like 3 weeks ago, I gave you shit for like not starting the show on time and you went, "Oh, I can't hear."
Yeah.
Out of this one ear.
Yeah.
Well, also on Myth Understood, Paul and Sarah must have, I don't recall it, but they must have been talking about how his headphones weren't working. So Blake sent us a donation through the website to pick up some new headphones.
Good man.
So
we appreciate it very much.
We're all wearing lovely new headphones thanks to Blake.
And I can hear from both ears this week, which I enjoy.
Which is ridiculous because like they're not that big of a thing, but but the thing is all of our headphones died all at the same time.
It all adds up
because they were all bought at the same time, so they all sort of died at the same time. But anyways, so stuff like that I tend to just get for myself, but I think the only thing that I'm looking at right now, and it's insanely cheap, is as surprising as it may seem, Alexandra and I were just talking the other day, I think I need a really cheap laptop that does nothing but have my Final Draft on it.
Oh.
Because I want a laptop just for writing. So like a cheap little like 4 gig of RAM, like it doesn't literally. And I was just looking on stuff, and it can, because like I'm gonna need that for research and whatnot like that. But like my workstation laptop that I use for the office and all of my photo work and everything, the battery, it's really great. This is like a huge expensive laptop, but like the battery's kind of dying. And while I can replace the battery, it's kind of an ordeal because it's really big and it's
bulky.
You
need a typewriter.
And yeah, I kind of want a little tiny word processor. Like
that's like $70-$80 now.
I want, the ones I'm looking at are probably like 120.
Still, I mean, that's
yeah. But like really cheap. That's like the only thing I could think of that I would think like would be on sale.
Yeah. I mean, I'm literally buying food. Like I'm a weirdo. Like I'm very excited for food sales.
He's like, I'm gonna head down to Ralph's.
I'm gonna pick up some Black Friday bananas.
I need my Black Friday black beans.
And it's gonna be and peanut butter. Peanut butter is always a good sale.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I usually get like 40% off peanut butter.
I never think about this when I think about Black Friday. I just think like, no, electronics.
I've been under the poverty level in my life more than not, and therefore anytime something's on sale, I go want or need, and then like, am I buying this because it's on sale? And if it fits both need and it's not just on sale, then I buy it. And I still push the holiday. I'm such a...
The last time that I bought something on Black Friday, this is how little I participate. The last time I bought something on Black Friday was a mini DV camcorder, a Panasonic
amazing
mini DV camcorder in, I'm gonna say 2008.
It would have to,
because it was before I moved.
So it was a mini DV.
It was because I needed something, because this is when I was still a touring stand-up.
Yeah.
And I wanted something to tape my sets.
Yeah.
So that I can review my own sets. And iPhone was, I mean, they were out, but I didn't have one. And even if I did, I don't think they had the storage capacity to like really do long video like that yet. But like, and so I was at my ex's house on like Thanksgiving Day, like in Florida, and I was looking at like the Best Buy deals.
Yeah.
And they had this Panasonic mini DV camcorder that was like regularly, $249 on sale for like $110. And I thought I could spend $110 on this thing that I need. And the next morning I walked to the mall that the Best Buy was at, assuming I'm never, like, there's going to be a line out the door. I'm not getting this camera. Like, it was just like, well, I had the day.
Yeah.
I wasn't busy. I walked up right to the camera department. I said, "Hey, do you have this camera?" And the guy goes, "Well, let me go check." And he goes in the back and he walks out and goes, "Yeah, we have one left." And then there's a whole line around the building. He's like, "Is that all you're getting?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I could check you out right here."
That's amazing.
And I felt like I won Black Friday, and that's why I've never gone to the store ever again.
That's not a toppable experience. So me and my mom.
I still have that camcorder somewhere.
It's part of your heart. That's a moment.
I still have it, and I'm sure it still works. And I recorded like all of my stand-up sets.
I love that, dude.
From like 2008 to like 2014, whenever I stopped doing stand-up.
That's a good investment.
Yeah.
So my mom and I, you met my mom, Angel Woman.
Yes.
We used to spend after Thanksgiving tradition was to get all the newspapers and spread out all the stores we wanted to get.
The deals.
And circle stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
And we used to map out around Nashua, New Hampshire, which store, what time, blah, blah, blah. So we had like an army plan of attack.
That was also when you could do that.
Right.
Now it's like, well, you have to get there the night prior.
Oh, no, we'd leave like after the mapping. And we'd like sleep in the car and wake up and like do like Barnes & Noble and then Best Buy and then Target.
I guess this is sooner than I thought it was based on our age differences maybe.
Oh, yeah, but it was
like that wasn't the thing when I was a kid.
Oh, well, I mean, when I was a kid was like 5 years after you were a kid. And that
I know, but that's
span,
what I'm thinking. I don't remember Black Friday being
huge.
that big of a deal until like I was an adult almost.
Oh, no, it was big when I was like 11. You would have been like 16.
Yeah. Maybe I just was successfully avoided it my whole life.
Yeah, I love sales.
And so it wasn't in the zeitgeist until I was like.
But I love the holiday because I think of it as a family holiday. Because me and my mom would like share it and we'd like get stuff and we'd like bond and have like 12 hours together.
No, that's fine.
Where it was really cool. But now it's like a necessity where I'm like, these are the things I need and want. But I still feel that like attachment to it.
Right.
But more importantly, also briefly, speaking of Thanksgiving weekend, speaking of Black Friday kicks off Fan Expo San Francisco, which I'm going to be like helping run. I'm doing 8 panels.
This Friday.
This Friday, if you live in San Francisco or you want to buy a flight to San Francisco, I am
drive right now.
You could drive.
Rent a hybrid and drive.
Just drive. It's better.
Especially if you're in or near California.
It's for the best. I'm sitting down with the cast of Clerks. I'm sitting down with the cast of Cobra Kai. I'm sitting down with the cast of Sons of Anarchy. I'm sitting down with Ming
all at the exact time. It's going to be a fucking nightmare.
And I'm just hoping they like each other.
Nightmare.
I'm going to point and they're going to talk and I'm going to point.
It's weird because you're all there to talk about Star Trek for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really, and they know I'm a noted Star Trek expert, obviously. So they're like very excited. But like Ming-Na Wen and all sorts of like icons in pop culture, very excited. Will Friedle, very excited to talk with him. It's gonna be rad.
I'm assuming that you have posted like your schedule.
I made
on
a video,
social media,
and I'll be doing a graphic as well. So as of press time, I've only done the video, but I'll be doing a graphic as well. But if you're in or around San Francisco, Fan Expo kicking off on Black Friday. I'm gonna be buying stuff on the flight. Very excited about it. But
gonna be in Sky Mall.
Oh, 100%. I'm gonna be flipping through your Black Friday deals, American Airlines. Now, speaking of family, you are my family. You are my co-hosts. You are my people. And we want to hear from you because it is the hot and hotline heavy week. So what do we got for hotline calls, Jake?
Am I supposed to do that?
I mean, it's an option.
That's what I'm supposed to do?
I think they like when that happens.
My job?
I don't have the power.
Queue up hotline calls?
I'm just here with a mic.
Oh, shit.
I know. It's hard.
Hey there, boys. It's Ben from Montreal. I'm listening to the podcast and I just figured I'd chime in. I'd give you my 2 cents about like the trade paperback or the companion book. There seems to be a bit of like different opinions, so I figured I'd wager in. It's maybe all of our brains together can't figure out what that companion book is really all about. In my perspective, trade paperback is a bunch of floppies collected together, not necessarily a hardcover. It could be soft, but inside we'll have the full story. Like, let's say, After Dark that just came out from Marvel had issue 1 through 6. And that's it. But a companion book, in my esteemed opinion, is, let's say, Last Ronin, the director's cut, where you had the full series. I think it was a 5-parter going by heart, 1 through 5. And midpoint through the story, they reprinted issue number 1, if not mistaken. And they've added a bunch of like sketches and information, additional data. That word was thrown out earlier in the podcast. And to me, that is a companion book. But let's say we talk X-Men Age of Apocalypse, the omnibus, right? They just came out with two thick-ass AOA X-Men. And the first one was like the direct series. Like, okay, this is the story, like really being told in regards to Age of Apocalypse. And then they had a second omnibus. It was a thick motherfucker. And in that, there was like a bunch of titles that were directly linked to AOA, but was not necessarily like X-Universe. You remember when they presented to us where would Peter Parker and Bruce Banner and the Fantastic Four would be and all that jazz? They called that the companion omnibus. So honestly, I think it's really safe to say that your opinion is just as good as mine, but from one place to another, companion books to literally have like a different spin on it. But to me, honestly, if I'm going to really enjoy a story, let's go back to The Last Ronin, then I'm going to get that director's cut, and I'm going to get that black cover one also that gives me so much more in-depth, simply because I'm addicted to it, right? I like the story. I want to go as deep as possible. I need that rabbit hole. So in any case, boys, Jake, take care, have fun, and keep it sweating, boys. Later.
I love this call. One, I love that you're like, this is what I've experienced. This is what you experienced. These are both true.
Yeah, I do feel like, so this is a reference to 2 weeks ago, I believe. It was a call by Travis, I think, saying like, what's the point of a companion book?
Yeah.
And I think we both had different definitions of what a companion book was. And Ben saying like, I think we're all right.
Yeah, I think it's a term that's used very loosely.
Yeah. But I do, ultimately what I'm garnishing from his call is that what a companion book is it's the best form of gross capitalism, because it's like, hey, do you really love this thing? We want to sell you another thing.
Here's more.
And it's us going, you know what? We want everything there is of that.
That is
for those who want it.
And I like that it's not mandatory. So that's a little nice.
There are things I agree with and disagree with about Benoit, where he's like, oh, if that's the thing, like if I like that, I'm going to want like the gold plated, whatever. Like I'm going to want like the big steel book. I'm going to want like all the extra shit. And the way I see it is like, for me, it's all about like, well, is there anything in that aids in my original experience, or is it ancillary? In which case, then I'm like, well, no, I like the purity of my 10. I love my original 10 Y the Last Man trades and the way that they all look. And I don't need another thing.
Because you got it.
Now, I will say, something like Y is different than like a Batman story, or was he talking about a Spider-Man story? What was the story he was talking about? I just forgot. My short-term memory of a goldfish.
Was it X-Men?
Yeah. So
I think it was.
But anyways, stuff like that, there is always extra stories to be told.
Right.
Where there's always like a writer who can come along at any point and be like, oh, by the way,
this happened in between that.
While that was happening, this is over here in the universe. So I do think for stuff like the big two, where these big universes, companion pieces are probably more like fun bonus content, like fun, not bonus content, but like they're the equivalent of like
a DLC,
the web series.
Right.
Or whereas like it's not the DVD bonus content, which is what other companion books are, where it's like, I don't need to hear the commentary track.
I don't need to see the pencil sketches, which I like, but don't need.
But and a lot of times those are just built into the trades anyway.
Right.
But
I love this growing conversation of companion books.
Yeah, because it does, again, like the more and more I think about it, the more that a companion book just is meaningless.
I think the term itself is just like, and more.
Or it means exactly what it
goes along with.
It's a companion
to
your enjoyment or to your collection.
Right.
Hey, this is a companion to that other thing you have.
Like a dog.
Like a dog.
He's my companion.
So every companion book is just the pet of the main book.
That's what it is. Guys, we figured it. We cracked it. Your book's pet book.
Thanks for the call, Benoit. We are thankful for you this Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Greetings, Coycast. This is Masked Llama of the Legendary Fighting Federation. And I am calling because a courtesy that I provide to podcasts that I particularly enjoy, such as yours, is a complimentary audit to ensure that promises that are made to listeners are promises kept.
Oh, boy.
And just wanted to give you a reminder that you did all promise to review the Lethal Weapon movies for the Christmas season. And, it's by the time you all record this, about mid-November. So I just wanted to remind you of that. It sounded really interesting, and I'd like to see that it gets done. Anyway, have a wonderful day, you all, and I look forward to listening. Bye.
Masked Llama with the free service he gives us.
What a bargain
of auditing us. Thanks. We're thankful for you this Thanksgiving.
I feel so seen. We did discuss this a while ago.
Now, I of course I famously have a perfect memory.
As Exhibit A just now.
I thought that we were gonna do it on like Lethal Weapon Day, like we were gonna make it an official holiday, and we never did that. Like I thought it already passed.
I mean, it is the holidays. I mean, we could.
I mean, I'm not opposed to this. We have some thinking to do.
You've seen them.
Yeah, but I need to rewatch.
Right.
It's a hard need for.
I'm saying it's a rewatch for both of us.
Although I don't know that I ever saw the third one.
Really?
I don't remember.
Rene Russo?
Maybe. Wait, Rene Russo's in all of them.
She's not in the first one.
She's in the second one. Wait, Rene Russo is... see, now I'm correct.
See, there it is.
It was a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
A long time ago.
Second one's has just been revoked. Third one is It opens with the fire in the. That's one of the coolest opening title sequences ever. There's a giant fire in this like housing complex.
Sounds familiar. I don't know. Anyways,
fourth one's Jet Li.
Anyways, it's something to think about.
It is the season for Lethal Weapon, the superior Christmas franchise.
Also, we've promised a lot of things.
We have promised a lot, but we rarely get audited.
So all I'm going to say is maybe let's not nitpick. Okay?
I mean, I could go for like a Lethal Weapon right into, what was that Santa movie I showed you? Mel Gibson's like...
Fat Man?
Fat Man. I could go for a Lethal Weapon, Fat Man Christmas. Mel Gibson losing his mind more and more.
I think maybe with everything that's happening with what Kanye is doing in the news right now, we just take a break from Mel Gibson for a little bit. Anyways, we appreciate you, Mass Llama, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Enjoy Lethal Weapon.
Hey, cool. Appreciate it. This is Travis from Florida, here with a quick hot take for you. Brainiac, in a movie sense, is a Supergirl villain. Here's why. Superman's home planet, for all intents and purposes, is Earth. He may be from Krypton, but he was raised, and his home planet is here. Kara Zor-El's home planet is Krypton, through and through. She was raised there, she has memories there, she has attachments there. So a bottled city from Krypton, of that being Kandor, is higher emotional stakes for her than it is for Superman. Yes, Superman wants to learn about where he's from and all this other stuff, but he has the fortress for that. Kara has potential relatives that were in Kandor when it was bottled. There's stories that can be mined from there. Plus, the potential for a neighboring planet by the name of Daxam to be held in there, where you can get Mon-El, and then you can be unshrunk, and then everything else in the future. It's a superheroes movie. Anyway, that's my quick hot take. Do with it what you will. Have fun. Bye.
So, I think that Brainiac is who I personally want for the experience of how we come back with Henry Cavill's Superman.
Yeah, so my guess is that this is a response to
that conversation I had.
A hotline call about who we would want Cavill to fight in the future.
And what I'm saying is like I'm leaning Superman so heavy. I'm having trouble picturing her because like I want Superman to fight Brainiac.
Yeah, I guess the question is there anything alluding to the fact that we might get Supergirl in any?
She's in the Flash.
I meant in like the future, because is the Flash? I guess everything is in the DCEU technically because
I think the Flash cleans things up. I think it allows.
Yeah, you mean them as a company?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't think
like
that
it cleans them out like their wallets.
I don't think that movie comes out unless it needs to, with how much is at stake.
Quick sidebar: there's a piece of news we did not talk about last week, due to everybody's favorite problematic actor, Ezra Miller. Fantastic Beasts officially canned.
Yeah, I mean, there's two problematic folks involved in that one.
Who's the second? Oh, right. I was thinking about actors. I was thinking about acting.
That was such a great. I saw a light bulb in real time.
Like three of them. But anyways,
yeah, that's true. It's a bevy.
But yeah, that's gone. I don't. Yeah, whether or not it quote fixes. Like you're saying, it's gonna fix that. Yeah, if anybody sees it.
I mean, Flash will make money. I honestly think that we know about all the drama, and I think parts of America know. Like it's kind of like your social media bubble.
Yeah, of course.
If you're not on Twitter, you might not even know Ezra Miller did shit.
Right. But anyway, so I digress. So what I'm saying is if
does she carry on?
Yeah, does she carry on in the DCU and in whatever James Gunn's plans are? And if so, is Brainiac better for her?
I like his details and the amount of planets and stuff he referenced. I'm just thinking that, like, for once, I'm very biased here that I'm pretty tied because of the Tim Burton, Kevin Smith, Batman, Superman, and like other things. I've wanted to see Brainiac fight Superman for so long. I would be bummed. I don't want to lose another opportunity. We've lost so many opportunities.
There's also just like, as we talked about in that episode where we were trying to come up with villains, like there's not
Superman's not in a great spot with rogues.
There's not a great rogues gallery for the primary DC people that aren't from Gotham,
and
that Superman couldn't immediately kill.
Right, like Superman is too overpowered.
Right.
You need overpowered villains.
Yeah,
and I don't think the first Superman movie back should have Lex. That's going to be a mess. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, whether Jesse Eisenberg or whatever comes back. But if you're not going to have Lex and you've already used Doomsday and you've already used Zod, well,
it's ridiculous. It's almost like they tried to ruin it for the future.
It's insane what James Gunn and Peter Safran have to do.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for sure.
But if anyone can do it, It's James Gunn and Peter Safran. So personally, I love where you're coming from, and I love your take, and I love the detail. But to me, Brainiac Superman all day.
Hello again, Coy and Jake. This is Doug McKinney from Pittsburgh, or Darth Vadad on the Discord. I'd like to shout out Pittsburgh Comics in McMurray, PA, where I picked up a copy of Behold Behemoth #1 after hearing Coy recommend it on one of the dozens of other shows he does. By the way, I just found out today that I'm scheduled to have a little brain surgery on January 31st. The first part of my transformation into a cyborg will involve wires being put into the parts of my brain that send the signals causing my Parkinson's disease tremors. Then I go back under the knife again February 9th to have my rechargeable batteries implanted in my upper right chest. After that, it will be another month or so before one of my doctors turns on the device and hopefully relieves most of my tremors. This is called deep brain stimulation, or DBS, if anyone's interested in learning more. But that's not really why I called. I've been thinking for a couple of years now that DC should do a Legion of Superheroes project, either animated or live action. Among the first comics I ever bought in the late 1970s were 3-packs of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. These days I've been catching up on Bendis' recent Legion run, which includes John Kent's Superboy. When done right, the Legion sends a message of cooperation and hope, things we could all use more of. It wouldn't hurt to see a diverse cast of fresher faces if they went for live action, too. Take care and happy holidays if I don't call in again before the new year.
Darth Vadad, Doug, before we get into the Legion of Superheroes, thanks for the update. This is fascinating. I hope that this procedure goes well. Also, it sounds like this could be your superhero or villain origin story.
I was going to say, when I hear some of these details and your name already being Darth Vadad.
He's going to have a battery.
Well, is that not what powers Darth Vader's chest? Is that not right?
Yeah, and also Iron Man.
I mean, so it could go either way.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the name that makes me lean towards the darkness.
You know,
and his voice is so sonorous and powerful.
Yeah, but his name is Doug as well.
Ooh, that's a real hero name.
Doug.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of arch villain Dougs.
No.
Also, the 90s we come from, Doug is a very powerful figure.
That is true.
In a sweater vest.
That is true.
I could see Doug in a sweater vest. I could see our Doug in a sweater vest.
He could become Quailman.
I would like Quailman, but from the dark side. Can there be a Darth Quailman emerge from this?
I think it might happen.
I think that's who's called.
But anyways, that's fascinating. Thanks for the update. We really, we love you here. We hope all of the best for you, and we really look forward to seeing more updates and hopefully hearing the good news.
Yes, heal up nicely and rest and hydrate.
So Legion of Superheroes, there was a cartoon.
Yep.
In the 2000s.
Didn't do great.
No, it wasn't. I don't know. I know.
I think it only lasted a couple seasons.
Really?
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm very bad at.
But things that last a couple seasons can be great.
No, I mean, I said didn't do great. Like I don't think it was like a long running.
I don't really know a ton about the Legion of Superheroes because they're that second tier DC that because I'm not diehard into the first tier,
sure,
I never really get to.
I struggle with that title, and I don't struggle with many titles because it is a volume title where you've got 80 characters in a comic, and some frames are 15 characters.
Wow. And
Bendis is already not known for his brevity.
Right.
So you're that comic takes forever to read, and a lot of times I can't hear or see characters.
Right.
I don't connect because it's just bubbles.
Too much.
Yeah. So I didn't personally connect with that book. I'm glad to hear he did.
Who are the primary members of Legion of
in the Bendis run Superboy?
Right,
John Kent.
He said,
he was the reason I read it because I'm a big John Kent fan. But then the rest were all from the 31st century, and I didn't know anybody. There was a Brainiac from the 31st century. There was I think Wonder Twins.
Let's see. Where's what I'm looking for here? Members. So yeah, we've got. So is this reboot? Because there's also the 3-boot, which is from 2004 2009, and then there is post Infinite Crisis Legion. Yeah, there's a lot of different versions of this, but the OG team is Cosmic Boy because he also said that one of the original comics he picked up.
Right.
So you got to figure this is original team because the original team was from 58 to 94, covered a big long window.
Whoa, that's a crazy run.
So the specific story that he is referencing as far as his original, it's Cosmic Boy, who I don't know anything about. Saturn Girl, who I know the name. Lightning Lad.
I know, decent.
And again, these are essentially little Justice League members.
Right.
It's like,
But it's like B-list, I mean, or C
right.
Justice League.
Triplicate Girl, Phantom Girl, later renamed Phase, Superboy, that's the Kal-El Clark Kent retconned to be Pocket Universe Superboy in Post-Crisis. Chameleon Boy, Colossal, lots of boys and kids.
It's a young Avengers of
Kid
Justice
Quantum,
League.
Brainiac 5, is that
That's
who you're
the one,
referring
31st
to?
Century, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. This list continues quite a bit.
It's a lot.
Listen, I mean, at this point, I'm actually probably more for this than I am for another Justice League, because if they're because I'm saying if they're gonna continue this universe and what we have as canon, my theories on a skyscraper built on a pile of
shaky ground
on Play-Doh will not stand.
Flash,
and in my opinion, Man of Steel is as Play-Doh as it gets.
Flash can negate all that though. Flashpoint, man.
Sure.
Literally, the movie. That's why I think it's coming out. It's a movie made to fix all that.
Right.
It literally is it's a crisis.
I posted. It's rare that I post something like a TikTok, but I posted a TikTok, not of my own, like not on TikTok.
Oh, I was like, what?
In the Discord, I shared a TikTok.
That makes more sense.
And we rarely do stuff like this, but I want to play it.
Oh, you gonna play it on air?
This is from a gentleman named DVD Columbo on Instagram, at least. DVD Columbo is the name, and I think they're a comedian. I wish I had more information, but this is James Gunn's first day at DC is what this is called.
Knock, knock. Mr. Gunn, we are so happy to have you. A couple of notes about your new and exciting DCEU. You gotta keep the old Superman, Aquaman, but not his love interest, Wonder Woman, but retcon her last movie, Cyborg yelled at us, so he's gone. No word yet from PR if we can afford to be associated with The Flash or finish their movie that literally reinvents everything. But you can move forward with the Suicide Squad that rebooted everything except the characters we liked from the earlier one, but featured a Joker no one liked, but who Snyder kept as canon, but who we teased as somebody else in a completely disconnected Batman franchise, as well as a different character in the musical sequel to the also disconnected Joker origin story. Also, if you could figure out how to make it seem like the JSA have always been around, and while they don't kill, they don't have a problem with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all killing in their movies, that would be great. So what are your ideas?
I mean, that's fucking
Is
fantastic.
very impressive.
That sums up the current DCEU in a way that I think is just beautiful.
Beautifully succinct. Like that is like I'm like genuinely impressed at the 1 minute that just happened.
Anyways,
nicely done.
So yeah, those are our thoughts on why I think a League of Superheroes would be great.
I say Flash burns it all down. We open with Henry Cavill.
Legion is what I might say. Legion of Superheroes would be great.
Flash breaks it all down. We wake up. We start with Henry Cavill opening his eyes, and it's all been a dream. And we start the franchise. It's just he just watched The Social Network, and so he had a horrible nightmare about Zuckerberg as Lex Luthor.
Fantastic.
And it's been rough.
I love it. Thank you so much for your call, Darth. We are very appreciative of you and very thankful this holiday.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Aiden from Seattle. I wanted to ask about your guys' thoughts on the CW corner of the DC universe. Admittedly, I haven't seen all of the Arrowverse shows, but as a massive Superman fan, I recently started watching Smallville for the first time. It's obviously pretty dated and corny, but it's like a nice comfort show, and Tom Welling does a great job. But if you haven't been watching Superman and Lois, I can't recommend it enough. There's only 2 seasons, and while the first is stronger than the second, it's one of my favorite interpretations of the character in a long while, and Tyler Hoechlin is fantastic in the role. So what I'm curious about are your overall thoughts on these CW DC shows, and also how do you feel about these characters existing in this pocket of the DC universe as well as the DCU? For example, with Superman and Lois Season 3 filming right now, what are your thoughts on having 2 iterations of Superman happening around the same time due to Cavill's return? Although you run the risk of confusing the general audience, I like that there can be different creative endeavors for these characters, especially when you're working in completely different mediums with disproportionate budgets. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everything you both do. Take care. Bye.
I think that's exactly what we've dealt with in comics for years, and I know that Jake has a different take on it than I do.
Not necessarily. I have a different. That's not my take. I mean, that's not different take that I have. I also agree. We've been doing that in comics for years.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue though.
I think the issue is common audiences versus nerd audiences.
I think common audiences just pick one.
Sure, which one could argue is a bad business model.
Sure, that's fair. But I think that the lion's share of their audience isn't the common audience. I don't know, though. It'd be an interesting data set to look at.
That directly opposes what you just said about Flash making a ton of money.
It does. You're totally right. 100%. You're right.
So like that's what I'm saying.
And that's the curiosity I now have. Like, what is the superhero business model?
Right. And while I think it's totally fine to have two different versions of the character happening simultaneously,
in this case, two mediums, I do think allows for.
I was going to say, because specifically this is a television show and then film series, which isn't new. We've had that for a long time.
I've heard only incredible things about Superman and Lois. I, in fact, just received from a friend the first and second season on Blu-ray, so I can watch it correctly because I like a quality stream.
They're making season 3, and then do they know that this is the last season?
I don't know if they know anything because of Discovery. I don't know if it's intended to be, but that said, I don't think the day-to-day audience, because the mediums, is struggling.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for it, especially if they're wild. This is the thing. They've got to be really different takes.
Sure.
They've got to be totally different enough.
Like Affleck and Pattinson.
Sure. I don't even know that that's totally different enough, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's still, I would prefer, I like Diedrich Bader's Batman existing and Pattinson's Batman existing.
Sure.
Because those are very juxtaposed.
Yeah, there's
Whereas
nothing.
like the reality is you and I can talk about the nuance of filmmaking and the tonal qualities of those two movies existing and whatnot.
Sure.
But they aren't that different. There's still a dark, gritty Batman in a movie, in a dark suit, we
should add Keaton. That'll make it make sense.
Yeah. Sure. It's like he said, they only have a little bit of work to do, those two guys.
Yeah, it's fine. But I don't know. I think we need Superman now more than ever. So I guess that's part of the appeal.
I do want to say, I apologize. I don't recognize the name, Aiden. I'm not sure if you're a first-time caller. It sounds like you are.
I think so. Welcome.
If you are, thank you so much for your call. Thank you for the thoughts, and we are thankful for you this holiday.
Before we leave, Aiden, I also want to note that we have almost all Superman calls this week, and I love
it's a big DC week.
But I kind of love that. Is that not like Henry Cavill's announcement caused 5 calls about Superman?
Yeah. Also, we didn't touch upon the fact that he's like, oh, what do you think about the Arrowverse?
Oh, Smallville.
And Smallville, like, so you and I have both talked on the show a lot. Like, we have not watched
Smallville fans.
Well, yeah, but we haven't watched a lot of the Arrowverse.
Sure.
Not out of a lack of desire. There's just a lot of it, and TV's. I haven't watched all the Marvel shows that I still haven't seen any of Daredevil. Like, just it's time. With that said, from what I know of my friends who tend to be like-minded with me and love comics, they all really like the CW shows, and they all don't really like the DCEU movies. Like the people that are like, so like it seems like they're doing something right over there.
Yeah.
So if they can figure out a way to do more of that and succeed and have that work as good as it seems to be working throughout the years, then great.
I had a little more access to the DC shows because a friend of mine was cast on Flash, so I had the opportunity to go like hang out on set with Grant and everybody.
Did you watch them though when they came out?
I watched that season.
Gotcha.
But what I'm speaking to is I was really impressed by being on set for a couple days, how they were really like attuned to like power set and like how this character interacted in the comics, and like getting characterization right was a focus even midway through like the 6th season or whatever.
Right.
And that impressed me a lot more than what I feel like they're like, what if Batman killed Zod or Superman?
Sure.
So on the set, I was like, oh, Grant really cares about Barry.
Right.
And on the set, like they were really invested in even like C-list characters.
Right.
I don't know that that's true.
Right.
But that also being said, Smallville, I think, doesn't get enough credit for starting all this.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with him too, though. That is a little corny and dated. In my opinion, it's a tough rewatch. I tried to watch it. So I didn't watch it in its entirety when it was airing.
Okay.
And this is before the days of like TiVo and everything like that. So it was like when I would catch it, I would tune in.
Sure.
And because of the style of show it was pretty heavy-handed in the dialogue and the writing, so you were never that lost.
Yeah.
Because it was always like they were all they spoke in exposition all the time, always.
And it was Villain of the Week show.
And even when it wasn't, it was always like, Lex, ever since you, and then they just explain the last 3 episodes, then blah, 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 then everything is written in that way. So it was always easy to follow. So I didn't dislike it when it was airing. It felt to me a little bit more like it was not for me. It felt more like people that were into the sort of teen drama.
Sure.
And I was too much of like a weird angsty douchebag, I suppose.
I loved it.
But I do think it's a tougher rewatch.
That's fair. I haven't tried.
Yeah.
And I did love it then, but that's part of why I haven't rewatched it. Is I can't be teenager again.
Right.
I can't be that young to put myself in that headspace.
And there are some things where, but I will say, if you did love it when you loved it, I think it'll do a better job of holding up for you.
That emotionality still could there.
Because like Alexandra watched every episode of Buffy when it aired and was obsessed with it, and watched every episode of Angel and the back-to-backs and like crossover. She was so in it. And she showed me those movies, or the TV shows rather, for the first time like 2 years ago. And while I appreciate them and I think they are good shows, specifically Buffy, I think it's a very good show. I don't have the emotional connection that she does.
100%.
Because she's immediately regressed to being a teenager and like those experiences. And
because you're so connected.
Yeah.
I tried with Buffy as well because I have a friend on it that I didn't know that she was so part of the culture. And that's really rare for me in pop culture to be like, oh, there's someone that I missed their whole thing. So because there was a connection, I tried. And even with my connection that's personal, it still wasn't a teen personal connection. And I really struggled.
Yeah. I will say the best way to watch Buffy as an adult for the first time is to skip the first season entirely.
I've heard that.
Because it's really, really bad as far as like just forcing you to get through a Monster of the Week episode.
Also, that being said, due to the age and demographic and everything of Smallville, I am interviewing someone that I think I'm more nervous for one of my Fan Expo interviews than I've been in maybe the last 3 years of my interviewing career, because she was like, her and Shannon Sossman were my two first major crushes.
Okay.
And Kristen Kruick is on the panel I'm doing for Smallville. And
for the uninitiated, who is that?
She's Lana Lang from Smallville.
Got it. Okay.
And her and Shannon Sossman from A Knight's Tale were my ride or die. Like,
sure.
Oh my God, I now know how much I can love. And I throughout like life, I've been very lucky to meet a lot of my heroes. And Shannon Sossman's cool because I got to teach her kids about like superheroes and Spider-Man and stuff. But it became a very like immediately, these are your kids, and I see you as like, you know, you're Shannon Sossman, the mom. I am terrified to look across a table at Kristen Kruick and be like, I forgot English, because I hope my 34-year-old self can shut up my 14-year-old self for long enough to do that panel.
I don't. I hope it's a fucking absolute train wreck.
I hope I'm immediately able to be like, hey, I'm a big fan.
Video of it.
I'm a big fan. I appreciate your work. Not us. And like, I'm so excited to meet Rosie, and I'm so excited to talk to Tom Welling. But like, Kristen Kruick is a deity. She's a goddess.
I still can't even place the face, to be honest with you. I don't remember who
she is. Everything. She is what love looks like. And
Kristen with a K?
Yep. And then Kruick, Kruuk.
I see.
Like, I love this.
What else is she from? Oh, I do recognize her. I recognize her from Euro Trip.
Yes.
And yeah,
I may propose.
I mean, yeah.
Come to San Francisco, guys. See me propose to my childhood love. See how it goes down.
Who very well may already be married.
You know what? The thing about blind dates is you can escalate them to marriage.
Also, 1 year older than me. So, you know, not too far out of the range.
Sweet. All right. Into that.
Do you want me to tell you whether or not she is indeed
it doesn't say
betrothed? It's Wikipedia. We have all the information we need.
Is she married?
According to Wikipedia.
Yep.
You have a shot.
Yes. And only according to Wikipedia. No, but I honestly, it's been funny. This is the only time I've gotten nervous for an interview in 3 years. Like, I walked into the Black Adam interview, like, The Rock's going to be intimidating because he's The Rock. But, like, I also know I can do my job.
I will say, be careful, though, because she is trained in karate.
Okay, so I got to make sure.
So don't come on too strong. I know you're real excitable.
I know, when I drop to Indy, make sure it's 6 feet away.
Be cool, bro.
Guys, come to San Francisco to see me make a fool of myself.
Be cool, bro.
Also, if you're listening to this after because you discovered the podcast because you met me and you were like, wow, that Coy, Kristen,
wow, that guy who embarrassed himself.
Know that I've loved you for 20 years and it wasn't my fault. I couldn't help it. I love you. Okay, audience, thank you for letting me embarrass myself.
Thank you so much for the call. Once again, I do apologize if you have called before, Aiden. If you haven't, then welcome and thank you so much.
Such a well-prepared call.
We appreciate it.
Hit a lot of points.
Hey there, Coy and Jake. First-time caller, more of a recent listener here. My name is Painty Menti, both on Instagram, and, you know, all over the internet, I guess. But my question is, with the recent release of Wakanda Forever, no spoilers, of course, Namor has some pretty good action scenes, and he puts up a really good fight. What are some team-ups you would like to see, like someone fighting with Namor? And contrary to that, what is an adversary you'd like to see Namor go up against? because he's got some pretty good fighting skills, of course. But that's just my I guess 2 questions today. Amazing podcast, you guys. Love listening to you guys every 2 weeks. Stay safe out there.
She only listens half the time.
I was going to say, Paintamenti, you had us. I was just about to tout how much we love hearing from a new listener.
But only a 50% new listener.
It comes out every week. Podcast comes out.
Maybe she listens to a double. Maybe she's like, I'll do a double feature.
Right. She sits down.
She saves it.
Anyway,
feature length.
Thank you so much. So happy. Once again, it seems like we have another new caller.
Something's working.
You love to see it. By the way, I want to throw this out. Paintamenti, Paint, like paint, IMENTI is their handle on Instagram, and I looked it up, and lovely artist. Paintamenti, thank you so much for your call. Talking about Namor's future in the MCU. Now, obviously, spoiler free because I have not yet seen.
You couldn't spoil if you wanted to.
Not yet seen Black Panther. No, I'm saying for you to talk to me.
Oh, I'll be careful.
So, well, actually, right off the bat, okay, I guess he doesn't die. So there we go. Now that's spoiled.
Spoilers.
Thanks, guys. So I know that he survives. But who would I want to see him with in the future? It's hard for me to say because I haven't seen the movie, so I don't really get his tone. If he's anything like he is from the books, then the only thing I could say is I want to see him fight and kill John Krasinski as Reed, and then hook up with Sue because, girl.
I mean, to be cast, Sue loving on that Namor.
But anyways, yeah. Who do you feel?
Okay, so I love that Namor, and I'm going to talk comic Namor, and obviously some of that translates, but just for spoiler's sake, like the strength, the arrogance, the little wing feet. I want someone that feels like he could keep up with Namor in a team up or a fight, but also someone with like a different power set, because you wouldn't want to just like have that Superman fighting Zod, like they're just throwing around like blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I'm going to go Iceman because the water, right? It'd be cool to see what Namor would do with someone that can control his environment.
Right.
He's always touting like, yo, I covered 3/4 of the planet. I want to see Iceman be like, bruh, and like handle him.
That would be interesting.
Like, how would they write that?
It would be interesting because obviously we don't have the X-Men yet, but like it'd be interesting to see that matchup. I do think she's talking about people who are already in the MCU, though.
Okay.
It's like my first thought without having seen it was just because, like you said, of the power set and because of the gravitas of Namor, what I assume, again, I have not seen it. I assume that there's gravitas based on the tone.
You've seen the trailers.
Yeah, exactly. Based on the tone and whatnot. You want to see him with somebody who can maybe intercut that a little bit. Like I'd love to see Namor have to interact with somebody like a Peter Quill.
I was thinking Peter Parker immediately. I like Peter Quill as well.
Or Spidey would be really great
just
too.
Bounce around and be like
Although
frustrated.
I guess my brain is already like, well, Spidey's done in the MCU because of Sony. Like in my brain, I'm already dismissing him for like, well, he's gone forever.
That's funny. Rumor is there's a 3-picture deal with 2 side projects in the works.
But also Thor. Especially
gravitas off.
Especially Thor being on the other side of fatherhood now.
Yeah.
And I do feel like we are set to have another slightly more serious Thor. Like I feel like it sounds like
Taika's walking away from everything.
Exactly. But like even like if we're gonna run with that sort of like he's kind of this cartoon version of himself, like you've talked about, his story, his arc from the first is really quite beautiful.
Right.
And he's a sort of person who I feel like Namor is where he started almost.
Right.
And so that's why
that's beautiful. I feel
like if Namor is at the spot where we met Thor,
that's what
Thor now on the other end of it being like, oh,
I pitched, I don't remember where, like why Hercules be a great villain for 5. Because I'd love to see Thor dealing with.
Right. Well, I mean, spoilers, but isn't that what we're getting?
I mean, assumedly, but maybe not. Right. But my point being that Hercules is basically Thor 1, which is what you're saying about Namor.
Yeah.
So I love that idea specifically because then we already have him introduced. Like it's already set up, which is nice.
Yeah.
The arrogant god concept.
Right.
I dig that.
As far as like people that you want to see him alongside, I don't know what our plan is with season 2 of Loki.
Oh, that's fun.
Listen, Aaron didn't show up to the baby shower this weekend, so I didn't get to pick his brains about it. But
he's in town
Loki,
too.
If that Loki, if TVA Loki from Avengers 1,
yeah,
who broke off, finds his way back into our timeline.
Sure.
Loki and Namor could be a fun, dangerous pair.
I'm going to go a fish out of water, pun intended, with Namor.
Oh, boy.
And the guy that's super grounded and having to deal with these crazy outside sources. I think Nick Fury would be fun because the stoic, dealing with like stoic but godly. Like
man, now I really wish I would have seen this movie because I don't know how they handle the like, where have these people been problem that we're going to have forever in the MCU. I'm curious if Nick Fury already knows about Namor and these people, and we just don't know that he knows.
Sure.
And that could be a great story because there's
I love finding out the characters are like, by the way, like that's fun.
And there's so few people who can have secrets in the MCU anymore of original cast and original characters that we've been with for a couple of years.
That's why I like the Secret Invasion trailer where Don Cheadle's like, no, I know this shit.
Right.
Like that was such a move to be like, nah, Nick Fury, I know about it. Like I think that's such a powerful espionage, and I'd love that with characters like this.
Also, it's also this late into the stories we're telling. It's also a way around that first act.
Huge
of like every movie is the same for it. Like what She-Hulk made fun of in the last act problem. Like we also have a first act problem where it's like we're all setting up the same thing that we're pretending we don't know. But in a post Thanos and a post Infinity War or Endgame, what do you want to call it, world, it's going to be a little bit harder to be like, well, where were these fucking people?
Yeah, could have helped.
But yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, I got one more.
Yeah.
I think that when you're dealing with someone like, I'm gonna say comic Namor for the sake of spoilers, but someone that deals as a leader in that kind of power set, it'd be fun to have him with the Eternals, because the Eternals are literal gods, celestials outside the planet. No. He's of the water.
One could argue
they might know
the ending of Eternals highly affected the Namor's people
more than
anybody else.
That'd be fun.
And I don't know. And that's the one thing I kind of like. I'm such a nerd sometimes that even though these are silly fantasy where people throw their shit around, I always pull back to that, the Stan Lee quote about Thor.
The spinning hammer.
He throws the hammer and hangs onto it.
That's how
I always come back to that. And even though all the Eternals just fly around and it doesn't fucking matter, even though that's there, I still want a little bit of science. I want somebody to talk about the displacement of the shores.
Yeah.
Of where all that water went.
Yeah.
Because all that water went somewhere. By the way, if you haven't seen any of Eternals, spoiler, there's essentially a celestial
birthing from the planet
that just gets turned to stone in the middle of the ocean. And so that water had to go somewhere.
And that's also a lot of land, so to speak, for Yeah.
I want that addressed.
I'd be excited for anything dealing with what the Celestial, like that's got to be a huge chunk of Phase 5. I'm very excited to hear about that.
It's only been addressed in one thing so far, and I don't remember what it was.
But yeah, there was like
it was a
big,
Well, no, it was addressed
like a news brief.
It was addressed in like it might have been in Ms. Marvel, maybe, or maybe it was She-Hulk. Like, all of a sudden there's this thing that popped up in the ocean. There's a giant stone man in the ocean.
Either way, I'm excited for that. But I like Namor with Eternals.
That's fun. Well, and if we are doing quote MCU, not all the Eternals.
Right.
Which could make it a little bit more interesting because it's a little bit smaller.
They're split. Yeah.
It's tough where it's like, oh, I want to see this one guy join there's other 8 people who are all super powered beings.
Yeah, but now that they're split.
I'm excited for I can't wait to see Wakanda Forever. I'm sure at this point, by the time the episode is actually aired, I'm sure we've already seen it. But I mean, Namor is one of those characters that I just go like, yeah, like that's I like the character. I've always liked the character in the books. If it's anything like the books, but they're also infusing culture, real world culture into the character.
Yeah.
Like I'm
very excited to talk to you about it.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, I already know I'm gonna love that part of it.
Yeah.
No matter regardless of what the story they tell is within the movie, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna really into Namor.
Yeah, I'm very excited for 2 weeks from now when we get to talk about it.
Namor versus Aquaman. Where do you go
with Momoa?
Like, just the characters.
Oh, Namor.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Some versions of Namor, from what I recall, have more of the fish powers than others do.
Sure.
Does Namor talk to fish in your world? When you think of Namor, does he talk to fish like Aquaman does?
No. When I think of Namor,
neither do I.
No, yeah, it does not.
So one could argue it's always going to be power of the ocean. Aquaman and fish army.
Right. He's always got boys. Like, he's got the Talokans / Atlanteans.
Hang on a second. We're going to sidebar here because I just had a realization that I've never thought about in my 40 years of life and, 30 something of reading comics. He can talk to fish, not mammals.
Yeah, how does he talk to whales?
How does he talk to all the whales
and porpoise and dolphins?
Yeah.
And it's always those.
He's always talking to non-fish, which means that when he comes on land, he should also be able to talk to bears and shit, but he never does.
They really need to reframe
How
that.
does he... Wait, he's supposed to only talk to fish.
They should reframe that as like water life. Because he definitely talks to mammals.
So does that mean he talks to like
squid,
crocodiles who live in the ocean, who live like in the water, or hippos?
Octopus are like not even from this planet. We talked about it. What's your deal, Aquaman?
All right, hang on a second.
Somebody call Momoa.
Aquaman versus Namor. I fall on Namor, and it's not the Marvel bias.
He's just always been a leader.
It's also more about he's a little bit more ruthless.
Right.
Than
Aquaman. Even with the fish hook arm.
If we were actually tasked with writing this, we would be forced to write Aquaman as the hero.
Right, 100%.
In which case he would win due to the power of love.
Or like his friends would show up to see. Yeah, but Namor beat him to a pulp.
But when it comes to just to blows,
street fight, Namor. On the streets of the what's it called, trench, like that's
on the streets.
That's what I'm saying. It's a street fight, but it's on the coral reef streets,
floor, the ocean floor.
Yeah, what's the big trench?
What would you call? What would be the equivalent?
Yeah, what's the water streets
of like? Meet me in the streets.
Meet me in the streets. Meet me in the trench.
Wait, I just had it. What do you call it when there's the where the water moves through? There's a name for the way that the water moves.
I'm always fascinated by that.
It's from Nemo, remember?
Yeah.
Finding Nemo?
Yeah. We need
What's that called?
God damn it.
Oh, what's it called?
I don't have my turtle knowledge.
Oh no, this is gonna be the worst way to end the podcast where we
With
both
us
can't
not
remember
knowing shit.
The name of the something stream.
Yes.
It's called the
jet stream.
The jet stream.
Yeah, meet me in the jet stream.
Yo, I'll see you in the stream. I
like that.
But it means jet stream, not like a little stream.
No, like a legit stream.
Oh, I'm so glad I was able to come up with that.
And he didn't Google it. Guys, it's about family.
That would have been a rough way to end it.
Yeah. We're about to take a week off too. That would have been 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. By the way, we're not gonna have a regular show next week because of the holidays, but we will be back after that for our end of year month. We'll come out with a proper schedule. You guys will know the schedule of what to expect. We're gonna do some fun stuff. We're gonna try to get. I don't want to say anything for sure because if it doesn't happen, I don't want Mass Llama to call us and be like, "You promised."
He is our auditor.
But we're gonna try to have some fun gameage at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Last year we had Stump Spiders Man.
That was fun. I did way better than I expected.
I want to do something similar. We haven't locked it in yet.
Yep.
But keep your eye on all the channels.
Yeah.
That this sort of stuff gets discussed.
We'll be scheming. So get in that Discord. All right. As we wrap out, always remember you can call 818-794-0722. You can leave your own hotline call. You guys are the co-host every 2 weeks, even though the show is every week. You can also send voice memos to contact@coycast.com if you want to send your voice memo that way. Please do rate and review on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Spotify now has ratings and reviews and whatnot.
They just ratings.
Oh, sorry. Now Spotify has ratings.
Just
you cannot review, but you can rate, which we appreciate. We got 4.9?
We're rated at a 4.9 out of I think only 60. So it's not a huge market, but I think it's 60 people who all pretty much dig it.
That's like 1 4-star and a lot of fives.
If 60 people showed up right now to listen to us do it live, we would be thrilled.
I would be.
We would be like, so many people showed up.
We had dozens at that WonderCon.
We had dozens.
But hey, it's a podcast. That's impressive.
No, I love it. It's a podcast with people that generally nobody cares about.
Yeah, people showed up. I was stoked.
Anyways, yes. So thanks for all.
We had a shout out you wanted to give.
Did I? Who did I want to give a shout out?
A very unpunchable one.
Oh yeah, of
course. The unpunchable list.
I mean, it's not that I want to give; it's that we need to give.
Well, yeah, but I was trying to pitch you because I've been talking a while. I was trying to give you a little time to chat.
Of course, the current unpunchable gift horse of the month for the month of November is Gilbert Short. If you would like to get a shot at being an unpunchable gift horse yourself for the month of December, well, we will decide who that person is on the first episode of the month, and that will be it'll happen. It'll be the 7th, December 7th. So you have up until then to become a gift horse level patron over on the Patreon at patreon.com/Coycast. All of our patrons, we really appreciate.
Thank you.
All of your assistance throughout the year. We're incredibly thankful for you, regardless of what tier you're at. But I do urge everybody to go check out the Patreon if you're listening to the program. There's lots of fun stuff on there for just a couple bucks a month. You can get a little something, as well as show your support for the show. And also, it's that time of year. Speaking of support, you guys, You know how it gets around the holidays. I would like to talk to you about saving on your car insurance. No, I'm going to talk to you about Dragon Wagon Radio. Dragon Wagon Radio is a completely independent podcast network. There have been 20 shows, 20 different podcasts that have been produced under the Dragon Wagon banner, all of which are produced by me and my lonesome for no money, for free to listen to. While certain shows have Patreons like we do here, the network as a whole has no benefactor, has no financial backing. So I want to urge everybody, if you can, we know times are tough, inflation is a bitch. If you can, consider throwing your support this holiday season towards Dragon Wagon Radio by going to dragonwagonradio.com/support. There are a few ways you can do so. You can donate directly via some easy links that are set up there. You can gift something off of an Amazon wish list. There are lots of different ways that you can help the network out this holiday season. So if you are feeling rather giving, we are feeling rather thankful. So again, that's dragonwagonradio.com/support if you're in the mood.
And if there's anything you guys want to give to someone else in the Coycast vein, you can check out Coycast.com, where we got shirts, mugs, mask, all that great jazz over there, and you can hunt us down. Oh,
also, that brings up a good point. Hey, put some Coycast merch on your Christmas lists for friends.
Yeah.
You can send folks the link to the item of your choosing at the shop. And maybe, have a loved one get you some Coycast merch for the holiday.
Yeah, it is a great thing to have at the ready, and it helps us, so we appreciate it. You can also check us out on social media. Use hashtag Coycast. We check that every so often, but you can also just add us at Coyjondro and at Jake Lloyd Bacon, where we await while Twitter still exists. As of recording on Monday, it still exists. I don't know if by the time you get this in 10 days it will, but for now, you can still hit us up there and on Instagram. All right, that's going to do it, you lovelies. We will see you in 2 weeks for December as we wrap out somehow 2022.
Jesus Christ.
We've only got one more recording in 2022, dude.
Oh, my goodness.
How crazy is that sentence?
Yeah, that's bananagrams.
I'm overwhelmed. All right,
bananagrams.
I'm terrified. Go.
Happy Thanksgiviving, everybody.
Happy Turkey Day. Get some stuffing in you.
Be safe if you're going to go out on Black Friday. Consider not.
Online's great.
Online's fine. Also, consider, if you are going to go on Black Friday, consider small local retailers. Go to your local comic shops on Black Friday.
Yeah.
How about you go there? Don't go to the Amazon. I know that it's cheap, but
yeah, as best you can.
But they're going to be letting people go anyway.
Yeah, get stuff from stores, and if you can, mom and pop stores.
Yeah, little mom and pop shop, mom and pop cop shops. That's
mom and pop cop shops. Don't buy from cops.
Mom and pop shops this Thanksgiving and this Black Friday.
All right, we'll see you in December.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Jake Lloyd Bacon here to tell you a little about my podcast, Elaborate. It's not super high concept, it's a talk show in which I sit down with artists, actors, comedians, writers, and more from all walks of life and simply connect. I'm exploring the human condition. I'm trying to figure out why we are, who we are, and how the hell we got here. It's a conversation, it's an interview, it's not therapy, but it is therapeutic. So join me and my guests on Elaborate, available at elaboratepod.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's Dragon Wagon.